we are going to turn our attention right now to a shooting that occurred in Minneapolis early Saturday, where Border Patrol agent shot Alex Pretti. He's 37 years old. Video now contradicting what law enforcement officials are saying right now, but we are learning in a briefing held earlier today by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt that Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota and the president had a phone call. Take a look.
With Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number one, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number two, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all.
That was Caroline Leavitt there. Taking a look now at protests from last hour, a school walkout there from just a little bit ago, again last hour in Minneapolis. We're tracking every angle of this story as well. Therefore, we want to show you some video. Before we do, of course, we do want to warn that this video may be disturbing to some viewers here. So the video, you're going to see it. We're going to break it down for you. We're going to play, it's two videos. The first video, it shows you a little bit before. It doesn't show the shooting. The second video will show before and the shooting. And we're going to show you, of course, what officials are saying and why this video contradicts what they're saying. Take a look.
Things got buried. Yeah, unroll your windows. No, you're let's go around.
As I said there, it's a little complicated and hard to watch. I want to now play. So MS Now, a news organization, a cable news, formerly MSNBC, they did an analysis of this all. I want to play that for you. Again, they're going to show this video. Viewer discretion remains advised here. Let's roll the video. Let's roll their analysis of all this.
So we've got two other protesters here interacting with a federal agent. Here you've got Alex Pretti. He emerges into frame in a brown jacket, black cap, tan pants. In one hand, he is recording. In his right hand, he's recording with his phone. His left hand, you can see, is empty. And what you can see is he's waving traffic through. You can still see the other two protesters who are interacting with the agent. Pretti's still in the street. Okay? He's waving a car through. Watch this. He's inviting cars to pass by. DHS said that Pretti approached agents with a gun. This video seems to show otherwise. Okay, as the video continues, Pretti is now going to be walking toward the other two protesters and the federal agent with whom they're interacting across the street. The camera that's recording, you can see it jostles around a little bit. But then we see Pretti. That's him right there. Okay, you see him appearing to help one of the protesters. Then he's hit with what appears to be an irritant. We've seen a lot of these federal agents carrying pepper spray in and around Minneapolis. So take a look at this. All right, so here, let's be clear on what we've got. We've got federal agents all around. There's a protester here. This is the person whom Pretti appears to have been trying to help. This is Pretti right here. He's got his back to the agents.
So there we go. There's an analyzation of the video. As that reporter, that's Ali Velshi there, he noted that there was kind of some differences. The DHS said that he was approached, but the video reveals he was helping another woman, and then the Border Patrol agents, officers, I should say, approached him. Here is Kristi Noem responding to kind of the backlash between all of this. This is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, again, Kristi Noem, on a Sunday show on Fox News. Take a look.
We know in this investigation into the shooting death of Alex Pretti, but I want to have you walk our audience through what exactly you know. So you said last night, it looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Did he say, I'm going to kill you, or did he know that was his intent?
You know, part of this investigation will be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground, but we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony. When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process. These officers used their training, followed their protocols, and were in fear of their lives and the people around them. And that's how this tragedy unfolded, and we hope we never see it again. It grieves me to think about what his family is going through, but it also grieves me what's happening to these law enforcement officers every day out on the streets with the violence that they face.
There is an angle of the video that we've been playing all morning where it shows an officer removing a weapon either from Alex Pretti's waistband or a holster, and he walks away with the weapon before officers start shooting. It appears that Alex Pretti was disarmed. If he was disarmed, is it the protocol to use deadly force?
And that's all part of this investigation. Every video will be analyzed. Everything will be looked at. And that's part of the answers, that I can't speak to every single thing that those officers thought, but this happened in seconds. They clearly feared for their lives and took action to defend themselves and the people around them. If you watch that and you listen to those videos, you can hear someone yelling, gun, 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 and those agents and officers reacted to that. So as this investigation goes forward, all of that will be analyzed.
It'll help unmute my mic. So she's not really directly answering the question, because she originally alleged and kind of alluded to call him a domestic terrorist. Now she's kind of, I don't know, not fully contradicting that statement, but she's not reaffirming it, that's for sure. This is what the White House is saying about all of this, and they're all blaming this on the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and the Minneapolis mayor, excuse me, Jacob Fry here. So take a look. This is, again, earlier today at the White House press briefing.
Talk a little more. Go ahead.
Okay, so this weekend the president posted that this is a cover-up of the fraud in the state of Minnesota. He also posted Minnesota is a cover-up. These both happened after the shooting. So given that these came after the shooting, what is the this here? What is the cover-up he's alleging?
Yes, it's a good question. I spoke with what the president is referring to is the fact that you have Governor Walz and, again, the mayor, who have been encouraging these left-wing agitators to come out and to harass and to dox and to threaten ICE and to make this conversation about and smear lies about federal law enforcement, who, again, are just trying to do their jobs in an attempt to distract from the widespread, massive fraud that has taken place in their state. Billions and billions of dollars has been stolen from law-abiding taxpayers in Minnesota, and the administration continues to be very focused on getting to the bottom of it, especially, and the president raised a good question over the weekend with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions, and one must ask themselves why and how is that possible? Is she connected to the fraud rings that we have seen taking place within her state and her own district? It's a question the American people are raising, and the president believes it's one worth answering.
So you hear Caroline Levitt essentially saying that the reason this is all happening is because of the fraud, and it essentially that the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis are kind of trying to distract and amplify ICE being there. Trump is also weighing in on all of this. He's speaking out in a Wall Street Journal interview released yesterday. He says, quote, "But I don't like it when somebody goes into a protest and he's got a very powerful, fully loaded gun with 2 magazines loaded up with bullets also. That doesn't play good either." Of course, they have alleged this entire time, including FBI Director Cass Patel, who has alluded that bringing a weapon to a protest, even though Pretti had a concealed carry license, is illegal in Minneapolis and Minnesota. I should refer to it as. There is no law that restricts that from our research here at Brooklyn News. So. Again, Alex Pretti, there has been multiple kind of inconsistencies and contradictions from what we have seen in the videos and what Trump officials and Trump administration officials are saying to the public. So I also now want to play the Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hare, who the White House this entire time has said is blocking, or the mayor or someone within the city of Minneapolis is telling the police that they can't help out when it's necessary. Not only that, but they're not helping out at all. But the police chief, Brian O'Hare, essentially says we're stretched thin and we're doing the best that we can. Take a look.
Unfortunately, we don't have any official information from federal law enforcement about what has happened. Even when our officers initially responded to the scene, our watch commander was not given even the most basic information that is typical in a law enforcement involved shooting, just to ensure that there is potentially no other victims. Since then, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension responded to the scene at my request. They were blocked from the scene yesterday, but they have since returned to the scene and are now canvassing for and evidence that may be there. People have had enough. This is the 3rd shooting now in less than 3 weeks. The Minneapolis Police Department went the entire year last year recovering about 900 guns from the street, arresting hundreds and hundreds of violent offenders, and we didn't shoot anyone. And now this is the 2nd American citizen that's been killed. It's the 3rd shooting within 3 weeks. People have been speaking out, saying that this was going to happen again. And I think everyone is kind of waiting for folks on both sides to come together and just figure this thing out. This is not sustainable. This police department has only 600 police officers. We are stretched incredibly thin. This is taking an enormous toll trying to manage all of this chaos on top of having to be the police department for a major city. It's too much.
Are you calling?
So that is Police Chief Brian O'Hare there. The next question that she asked that we missed a little piece of, but she says, "Are you calling for ICE to exit the city?" He says, "No, but you guys are outnumbering us," essentially. They're, of course, paraphrasing. We do have a statement coming in from Alex Pretti's parents. They say, and I'm going to read the entire thing here. They say, quote, "We are heartbroken but also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around the hero term lightly. However, his last thought an act was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand, and his empty left hand is raised above his head while trying to protect the woman. ICE just pushed down, all while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. That's the statement coming in right now um from the Pretti family. Now, news organizations, including ABC News, drawing parallels to a shooting that occurred back in 2020 with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse, he was a 17-year-old at the time from Illinois. He gained national attention in 2020 after shooting 3 men during the Kenosha unrest. Of course, you remember that came after a killing there. When he shot those 3 men that led to 2 fatalities, he was acquitted of all charges back in November of 2021 after he argued self-defense. Here's that report coming in from ABC News.
It's a stark contrast to what many Republicans, including the president, had to say about Kyle Rittenhouse, seen here carrying an assault-style rifle through Kenosha, Wisconsin in 2020, before opening fire, killing 2 men. He was acquitted on the charges. President Trump called him a very nice young man.
So there's that report there from ABC News, drawing parallels to this entire incident to others that were rather not against Republicans, but for Republicans. So maybe that's of course why that's why there's a parallel there. But also the border patrol commander at large, kind of the chief of border patrol, Greg Bavino, he's speaking out in a CNN interview, and it gets kind of heated. Here's just a few clips from that. This is with Dana Bash.
Video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do. And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that law enforcement operation?
Sure, Dan, at first he was there in the scene. He was in the scene actively impeding and assaulting law enforcement to the point.
But that's not illegal. He wasn't
Dana,
impeding it. He was filming it, which is a legal thing to do in the United States of America.
Dana, let's don't freeze frame adjudicate this now. He was there for a reason, and that to
what
the
evidence
point.
do you have of that?
And here's a good point, Dana, is the fact that de-escalation techniques were utilized during this action. Those de-escalation techniques, whether it was physically trying to remove them from that law enforcement scene, that active law enforcement scene in which law enforcement were going after a violent illegal alien, or the use of pepper spray, which is another de-escalation technique. Those techniques did not work. Officers always try to use the minimum amount of force necessary to either effect an arrest, which in this case was more than likely 18 U.S.C. 111, assault on a federal officer, or
Where did he assault a federal officer in any of the video that you have seen? Because it looked to us from every angle, sir, that he was approached by them when he was helping another individual who was pushed down. What evidence do you have that he was assaulting any law enforcement?
Dana, we don't need a suspect's help in an active law enforcement scene.
When you say suspect, what is he
didn't ask
suspected
his
of?
help. That's an active law enforcement scene. He knew that was an active law enforcement scene, especially when the officers approached him, and it's very evident he did not need to be where he was, and he
when somebody
on his own to stay there.
So when somebody is pushed down and a person's instinct is to help that person, when somebody's pushed down by law enforcement, you're saying that you just stand back and let law enforcement do what they're doing? I mean, is that really human nature?
You know, Dana, every situation is different. What our officers are faced with here in Minneapolis are chaotic, very difficult and violent situations in which individuals, and this suspect is not the only one to bring a loaded weapon to a riot. The situations are chaotic and ever-changing. Follow directions for law enforcement. Don't inject yourself knowingly beforehand into a law
But
enforcement situation.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
So you see Dana Bash from CNN, they're clearly pushing back, not getting many answers, direct answers at least. You hear him there saying they used de-escalation tactics and attempted to calm him down, and that he was impeding. The video again alludes that maybe that appears to show that maybe that wasn't the case, and that he wasn't. He was videoing from the background, and he was an ICU nurse. We were listened to in that another story from the, I should say, from the statement from the Pretti family. He was an ICU nurse, and he was trying to help another woman who had gotten into a situation with another ICE official, and they had walked away. It appeared that they had, in the video, had been away from that situation, and that is when Pretti approached the woman that had been pushed down and was trying to deliver aid. Also, we watched in that clip from MS Now a few moments ago, where it appears that that gun that he did have the license to carry legally was removed. The question now I'm asking, I mean, was there miscommunication? Is that why maybe he was still shot even though he had no weapon? I think it's a very valid question to be asked at this moment in time. There's so many questions. People are very clearly outraged. This is a school walkout from literally last hour in Minneapolis. There are so many questions that just remain. And it's the fact that within moments, the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was saying that this was a domestic terrorist, even though now we're getting video. And I mean, for us, we are only able to rely on your videos. If there's something more than that, then I think law enforcement officials should come out with them, but they're not.